Welcome to Invented Arizona. I'm Paul Tamarkin.
And I'm Taylor Hudson.
We're with Tech Launch Arizona, the office of the University of Arizona that commercializes inventions stemming from research. In this edition, we talk with Jeff Pyun, professor of chemistry and biochemistry in the College of Science at the University of Arizona.
Yeah, we chatted about a new kind of sulfur-based polymer he's calling chips. We'll get into the specifics of the technology in a bit, but Jeff, could you tell us a little bit about the background of your research?
It's always sort of funny. It's like, I love to start with the technology perspective because it makes me sound smart. Like we actually thought of this in advance, and like clearly this is something that we knew would be a big deal. It's always cart before the horse, right? So for us, we were actually working on materials for batteries, right? And that was basically something that really required that we use a lot of material, well, basically a lot of sulfur chemistry, right? And so, sort of that, kind of led us to think about, what these types of plastics could be good for. It just happened to be the plastic that we made had lots of weird properties, just because you don't really have many plastics made with lots of sulfur bonds in the material. And so that's kind of how this spawned. It sort of said, okay, so we have this new plastic. Okay, what the hell is it good for, right? And step one was batteries, and step two, because as we looked at, what kinds of candidates would be good for optical plastics, we said, wow, this could be really quite intriguing. And so indeed it was, and that's sort of what spawned this new chips technology.
And what exactly do you mean by chips? What does that stand for?
So basically, anything with sulfur will be considered a chalcogen or chalcogenide. So that's kind of a technical term there. And so basically what we did, and this is kind of what actually people in the community, when they looked at our stuff, they said, so your stuff's kind of a hybrid of chalcogenide glasses and synthetic plastics. Right? Which is really, I think, a good description because our plastics have lots of chalcogenides or chalcogens, which is sulfur, and they're also polymers, right? And so chips is basically chalcogenide, hybrid, inorganic, organic polymers chips.
So when we spoke before, you mentioned that this technology would be a low-cost solution for infrared imaging and LiDAR applications. Could you tell me a little bit more about the market opportunity?
One of the reasons that plastics could never be used for infrared imaging as lenses is the first part, as I mentioned to you, they're opaque, which means if you look at the nature of most polymers, they're organic, right? Organic, they have carbons and hydrogens, and so those completely absorb in the optical wavelength. So sulfurs, they don't have carbons and hydrogens, they're made out of sulfur, so that's why they're transparent, so that was a neat thing. The other thing too is with a property known as the refractive index, right? So imagine your glasses right now, right? So like 20 years ago, they'd be like super thick, right? And so the reason you can have thinner lenses is because the refractive index of the material is higher, right? So you can bend light more effectively with higher refractive index materials. And so our plastics have the highest refractive index of any synthetic polymer ever made, period. So they're approaching now where we can get to properties of chalcogenide glasses. The chalcogenide glasses are always going to have superior optical and mechanical properties. They're rocks and they're hard. But again, the notion is we have these hybrids of these systems, and so we could get the benefits of cheap, cost, very favorable processing. Polymers you can process into anything, right? And so that's kind of the benefits of where we're trying to get in the middle. Can we get the desirable optical properties that side has? That side being chalcogenide inorganics versus the desirable properties that organic synthetic polymers have. So it really is this hybrid game.
Okay, so now that we've got a better understanding of chips, where do you see this fitting in the marketplace?
In a broader sense, as we look at our sulfur technology, we sort of see, a multiple, I guess maybe three major areas where we're thinking about high-value, high-tech applications like optics, right? Commodity-based things. So basically, you have the oil industries that want to just take, tons and tons of these, byproduct piles of sulfur they have and make, useful plastics from it. And then on the third angle of it, you can imagine just specialty plastics and specialty polymers. So those are sort of the three major efforts, right? So if we focus again exclusively on, just the optical technologies which fit in these sort of niche, high-tech, high-value applications, right? So we love to work with defense companies, right? So if you think about heat-seeking missiles and all different kinds of missile weapon systems, right? So all of those are based on IR sensors and IR imaging technologies, right? So that will be a great and logical partner for us. But the big one that we're pushing for is smartphones. If we can break into smartphone type demonstrations and technologies where, again, you're not necessarily doing it for high value, see through a building, kill some bad guys, but again, oh no, my dog peed, where's the PB? That's where you can think about using your smartphone for those kinds of applications.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. And thanks to all of you for listening to Invented Arizona.
For more information about chips and all the other great inventors and inventions from the U of A, visit TechLaunch Arizona on the web at techlaunch.arizona.edu.
We are at TechLaunchAZ on Twitter, and you can also find us on Facebook and LinkedIn.
And finally, subscribe to our monthly newsletter for stories, updates, and events from around the University of Arizona innovation ecosystem.
You can find that at bit.ly/TLA subscribe.
Thanks for listening.